Netflix's The Residence, created by Paul William Davies, takes viewers straight into the White House, where a murder during a high-profile state dinner throws everyone into complete chaos. The world's greatest detective, Cordelia Cupp, gets called in to crack this high-stakes case. Over 8 episodes, the investigation twists and turns in ways you won't see coming. The show is based on Kate Anderson Brower's 2016 book, The Residence, Inside the Private World of the White House, and it puts a unique spin on the classic whodunit formula. Despite earning great reviews, landing in Netflix's top 10 in the weeks after its release, and even snagging multiple Emmy nominations, Netflix pulled the plug on the series. There won't be a second season. Why Netflix canceled the show? So what went wrong? Well, it all comes down to Netflix's cost-to-benefit ratio. Basically, how much money they spend versus how many people actually watch. For The Residents, those numbers just didn't add up the way Netflix wanted them to. Production costs and set design. This was a Shondaland production. You know, the company behind some of Netflix's biggest hits, so expectations were sky high. But here's the thing. This show was absolutely massive from a production standpoint. Since the entire story takes place inside the White House, the crew had to build a complete replica at Raleigh Studios in LA. We're talking about a 7-stage construction with 132 connected rooms, 10 miles of molding, and 200 working doors. That's insane. These incredibly detailed sets really did transport you into what felt like the actual White House, and they were a huge part of what made the show so impactful and entertaining. Competition and timing. When The Residence dropped, it did climb into Netflix's top 10 pretty quickly. But here's where things get interesting. It was released just barely a week after Adolescence, which became a massive hit for Netflix. That 4-part British crime drama actually became Netflix's second most watched English-language series ever. The success of Adolescence seems to have completely overshadowed The Residence. While the show found some popularity and got plenty of appreciation from viewers, it just couldn't reach the level Netflix was expecting. What season 2 would have looked like? Since the first season wraps up its mystery in the finale, Cordelia Cupp would have needed to move on to her next case. The second season would have taken her somewhere completely new, maybe a different presidential residence in another country, or something along those lines. Anthology format plans. The creators had actually thought this through pretty carefully. They realized that The Residence could only work as an anthology series, bringing us a brand new case every season. That's actually a pretty smart approach for this kind of show. Returning cast members. While we'll never know exactly where the writers plan to take Cupp next, it's pretty safe to say that Aduba wouldn't have been the only cast member coming back. Characters like Randall Park's FBI agent Edwin and Isaiah Whitlock Jr.'s Chief of Police Larry Dokes at the MPD probably would have found their way into the next season too. Character development plans. Aduba actually talked about the future possibilities in an interview, especially about the bond that develops between Cordelia and Edwin. She mentioned how their friendship would have deepened over the course of season 2, saying they have developed a shorthand between each other. They have one great case under their belt, and I'm happy to imagine what else they might do or get into. Potential storylines. Since Edwin got to see Cordelia in action firsthand, it wouldn't be surprising at all if he reached out to her the next time he found himself dealing with a particularly tricky case, the kind that requires someone as brilliant as Cordelia. Or maybe the story could have gone in a more personal direction for our detective, where she gets tangled up in a case that hits close to home. This would have been perfect for getting to know her better, since the first season barely tells us anything about her, beyond the fact that she's incredible at solving crimes and happens to be an accomplished birdwatcher. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown of why The Residence got canceled and what could have been, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.